All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry about the slightly longer lead up there. I was figuring out some notification settings and making sure everything was good to go. All right. So we are picking up where we left off yesterday. Yesterday we got through 3 of the anointed subclasses, and that would be the Oath of Blackened Heart, the Oath of Blight and Radiance, and the Oath of Fealty. That said, I had kind of already pre-drafted the Oath of Blackened Heart during some time off stream, but yeah, overall, I think we did quite well. I think they turned out fantastic. So now it's just Oath of Sharpened Fang, and this is our dragon subclass for our knight archetype, our paladin archetype, our warlock archetype. So let's go ahead and just kind of quickly get some of the basic information input here, being a table and the spell list. Okay, there we go. So, first and foremost, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the Oath of Sharpened Fang Expanded Anointed Spell List feature here, just because for language purposes here. When you swear an Oath of Sharpened Fang, your draconic patron grants you command over fire. Well, no, because not. Command over elements of destruction. You gain additional spell options to cast based on their nature, as shown on the Oath of. Oh, hang on. There's that's a hidden one there. Following spells are considered divine spells for you. Go. Cool. So, let me go ahead and kind of full screen my Affinity publisher window here, just because this is a class that I wrote up in this software, and it is a little bit more than your standard subclass, just because there are a lot more actions here. So yeah, fun. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with this because this is technically 3 abilities. It's just 4 pages of 3 abilities because the Oath of Sharpened Fang is a subclass that has a choice component to it, and so it functionally works like a subclass that has subclasses. It's just you only get to choose this. Well, with normal subclass, you only get to choose it once, so I guess it is just that, yeah. So. Our first core feature here, outside of the expanded spell list, is Draconic Temper. All right. Give me my cursor affinity. There we go. All right. When you choose this archetype, choose the aspect of your Draconic patron that best suits your character. The Heart of Fire, because we are bolding these. The Storm of the Mountain, the Cerulean Bolt, the Verdant Calypso, or the Molten Tyrant. These are ideally going to map onto different types of dragons or different draconic personalities within your world. I wanted to make this the reason I went with these names instead of aspect of the red dragon is because what a red dragon is can be different in your world, and not all red dragons are the same. It's dragons are just not necessarily monolithic among any sort of fantasy world. So maybe you have a dragon who's like Thordak in Critical Role. That would fall more under the Molten Tyrant, or maybe Heart of Fire, like one of those two, where it's more magma oriented or more fire oriented. So like you could see a red dragon going into either of those categories, but depending on the actual character of the dragon is going to determine which one they are. A green dragon would probably be Verdant Calypso, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that can't be a blue dragon or another type of dragon that is caring about like the natural world. Is that each one of these is all about different domains of influence rather than just traditional draconic coloring, which is mostly a D&D thing and something that I want to move away from with this RPG. So yeah, those are the core supported draconic aspects. That's what the word is. There is the possibility that we can expand this down the line, but excuse me. These are what we're going to be working with today. Each Draconic Temper comes with an associated damage type that becomes an option when performing a smite, as well as a signature roar that you can perform as a minor action on your turn. So yeah, special action and then an option for dealing damage with your smites. So let's go ahead and get this table in here. Okay, so should be fine. All right, let's go ahead and just kind of plug this all in here. So and we're going to align this all with the left-hand side, just formatting wise. Go. Damage type for Heart of Fire is fire. Cold, lightning, poison, and Molten Tyrant is acid. That is right. So, molten, I guess. Sorry, I was rolling with my spiel earlier that technically speaking, a red dragon could be that. Like, and it can. Molten Tyrant being giving damage type of acid more is just like a kind of burbling beneath the surface and like kind of being a little bit melting and discorporeal. Like, I think that there is something that is thematic and cool there. Give me my ruler back here so we can see if there is an option to shrink this column size there. There we go. That doesn't seem better. You know, we'll just leave it at 2. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and this is heading 5. Why is that heading 5? Could it be something else, please? No. Dang. Okay. Okay, so fix. Alright, so our first thing here is Heart of Fire, our smite damage option, and our signature roar. So, smite damage option. When you perform a smite, you can choose to deal radiant damage, which is the base damage for a smite, or fire damage. So we're just giving a slight damage shift there. And then signature roar. You can use a minor action to perform the following special attack: Smoldering Roar. Excuse me. So we're going to get to what each of these signature roars do in a second. Let's just go ahead and keep kind of going through our different features here. Alright, Storm of the Mountain. Radiant damage or cold damage, so that's just going to be a single word shift. And then Thundering Roar is the... okay, so Cerulean Bolt. Lightning damage. Staggering Roar. And then Revitalize. Verdant Calypso is poison damage and revitalizing Roar. Alright, there we go there. Okay. And then Molten Tyrant here is acid damage and fright. Okay, so Heart of Fire and Smoldering Roar here. Let's go ahead and get... Okay, so this can be just kind of a standard action. Yeah, you'll work. Okay, so Oath of Sharp Fang. Prerequisite, Heart of Fire. Okay, and we do not have a trigger ability here, so we can get rid of that row. Conviction 2 is a minor action. Implement none, target self, range self. All right. As far as the actual ability here, you unleash a taunting roar and ready a fiery defense for all who would challenge you. Until the start of your next turn, you have resistance to all incoming damage. Don't really like that. And each incoming... Oh man. No, sorry. And each incoming melee weapon attack deals 1d10 fire damage to the attacker. So... let's go ahead and make a bit of some tweaks here. Okay. And our line break. Until the start of your next turn, okay. So, what I want this to be like is a little bit of an armor of this situation here, but not necessarily with temporary hit points. Oh man. Maybe temporary hit points is the only way to do this. So until the start of your next turn, you gain. Yeah, I think this is going to be a temporary hit point gain. You gain temporary hit points equal to your will defense. Slightly higher pool. All right. While you have these temporary hit points, you know, let's actually take a quick look at our here. While a creature has these temporary hit points, they are resistant to. We're gonna just copy that clause here. Not a creature. While you have these temporary hit points, each incoming melee weapon attack deals 1d10 fire damage to the attacker. So that way you've got a bit of a flaming shield on you. So you are going to be, you know, reducing damage if an opponent attacks you, just because you have temporary hit points. Now you have a bit of a shield buffer to your health, and a bit of a buffer against taking damage. And then you also have a punish if someone attacks you in this way, where incoming melee attacks deal fire damage to the attacker. Alright, so yeah, that is Smoldering Roar. It's a 2 conviction ability. It's a minor action. Yeah. Let me just see how this looks. That works, I suppose. And I don't like the fact that I had to make the Draconic Temper here heading 6, because all abilities here, their name is also on heading 6, just for ease of search and being able to find it within the index on Google Docs. But I think we're just going to kind of have to work with it. So yeah. Let's go ahead and just kind of copy this here. Go. All right, so signature roar for Storm of the Mountains is the Thundering Roar. Prerequisite, Storm of the Mountains. All right. An eruption of thunder explodes from your chest, sending violent shockwaves through those frightened by your presence. That's cool. Let's see how I design Um. Okay. Same spends there. Oh no, sorry. Conviction 2 plus. Okay, so these are pretty small, simple abilities here, honestly, and I don't mind. You roar with terrifying presence, shaking all hostile creatures near you. All hostile creatures within. Shaking all creatures. Yeah, that's fine. All creatures. You know, we'll just put this as instead of hostile, since that's not really a term. All creatures of your choice within a 10-foot radius of you. So, stealth. 10-foot radius of you take 1d4 thunder damage for each point of conviction spent as a part of this attack to a maximum of 5d4. So automatically you do this, you perform this minor action, and boom, all of your enemies around you take 2d4 thunder damage. And you can spend more conviction up to a total of 5 for this to deal more damage. It's just a kind of flat damage, a little bit of damage. All right, Cerulean Bolt here. Staggering. Okay, this is interesting because we have target numbers. So this one's going to be a little bit more of a complicated one, which, all right. All right, so this is going to be Staggering Roar. Prerequisite, Cerulean Bolt. Conviction, this one is another 2 plus. Target self, target one creature. Okay, okay. Range, it looks like it's saying 15 feet. You attempt to stagger a creature of your choice that you can see within range. The effect then leaps from that target to as many as 3 other targets, each of which must be within 15 feet of the first target. A creature can be targeted by this effect once per use. Okay, so this is... Okay. So what this is it's a little bit of chain lightning, which is fun. I love a good bit of chain lightning. Okay. Creature of your choice that you can perceive within range. The effect then leaps from that target to as many as 3 other targets, each of which must be within 15 feet of the first target. A creature can be targeted by this effect once per use. Each creature hit by this effect takes 2d4 lightning damage and must make an intellect sanity resistance roll against your agility target number. On a failure, they're dazed until the end of their next turn. So, target numbers don't really exist, and I don't want to carve out more exceptions for them here. So, what do we do? Is the question. Okay, so I think I mean the easy answer is we make this a die roll. We make this, you make an attack. And it determines kind of how far the bolt spreads. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Is this going to be something that can be defended against? I think it should be. I mean, then we have to use an attack attribute necessarily. Okay, so yeah, let's just go ahead and oh, geez, that got so much. There we go. All right. Oath of Sharpened Fang. We jump into here. Okay. So, attack attribute. We're going to call this. Do we call this might? Yeah, I think we call this might. Defense. This is going to be a reflex defense. Die roll. And result. Staggering roar. So, on a 9 and lower, the target creature takes 2 takes 1d4. No, it takes 2d4 lightning damage. The target creature takes 1d4 lightning damage for each point of conviction spent as a part of this action. Yeah, that shouldn't be spent, it should be expended. The part of this action to a maximum of 5d4. Okay. Okay, so yeah, let's just get the damage in first, then we figure out the bounce. A maximum of 5d4. Okay. If the target creature takes the defend reaction to reduce this damage, the damage is reduced to a minimum of... No, hang on. No, because that is getting past our primary core damage mitigation. We are not doing that. We will keep a defend reaction in here, but we're not going to have true damage that can't... We have things that can't be defended against, but we're not going to reduce the potency of a defend reaction. That is a no-go. Okay, so that is the damage clause here. So, what happens now? So, we need to figure out a way to inflict stagger, or to inflict the dazed condition. If the damage taken is greater than or equal to your anointed level, let's get rid of the maximum clause there as well. Is greater than or equal to your anointed level, the target creature is dazed until the end of their next turn. There we go. Okay. Okay, so on a tier 3 success, this is when we start getting the bounce clause to come in here. So this is, on one hand, a rather big ability, but like, okay, so first up, we have to figure out bounce. Okay. If the target... No. I'm not going to just trigger if the target creature is dazed. The effect leaps. Leaps? I don't know. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the 5e wording of Chain Lightning, just so I can kind of reference that, since this is a similar style of effect. 3 bolts leap from the target creature. To as many as 3 other targets of your choice that you can perceive within 15 feet of the initial target. Each creature hit by this. No. A creature can be targeted by this effect once per use. All right. Okay. So. Oh, thank you. I made these on my 3D printer back there. They're fun. Yes. Let's see here. Chat. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. No. So I can kind of take them on and off, so I use this for. I took this to Ren Fair a while back, and it was just a fun time. Yeah, I just figured I'd have something to bring around. Yeah, for stream. It's fun. Yeah, I agree. It's badass. I love it. Nice. What kind of character are you making? Tiefling, or it's kind of the main one I think of with kind of devil horns and such. Yeah. Oh, flight attendant. Nice. Yeah. Sweet. Well, thank you for checking out the stream. It's good to have you here. All right. Yeah. All right. Yep. So 3 bolts jump from the target creature to as many as 3 other targets of your choice that you can perceive within 15 feet of the initial target once per use. So dexterity saving throws aren't necessarily a thing in this game. So the target, so each subsequent target takes 2d4 lightning damage. Takes 2d4 lightning damage. 2d4 lightning. If this damage, and then we keep this clause in here. If this damage taken is greater than equal to your anointed level, the target creature is dazed until the end of their next turn. Okay. So there we go there. Yes, the creature. Okay. So, what do we do? What do we do here? So let's go ahead and copy this text here for our tier 4 result. I feel like there's got to be a better way to kind of organize this, just because it is a lot of repeated text. So let's at least just get it written first. That's the goal. 3 bolts leap from the target creature. Each subsequent creature takes 1d4 lightning damage for each point of conviction expended as a part of this action. Okay. Then this is where we're going to keep the to a maximum text. Is this a spell? This is not a spell. This is, well, kind of. So what I'm doing here is this is a class feature for a class that I'm designing called the Anointed. It kind of fills a similar role as a paladin or a warlock. And so what I'm doing, this is for a homebrew TTRPG that I am designing called Underkeeper. And so it's the goal is to have it launch with several classes, and each one has 4 subclasses, and one of them is this draconic origin, kind of dragon warlock, dragon paladin sort of combination. And so what is going on here is I guess so. Yeah, I was looking through all of the different Twitch categories there, and I'm still trying to figure it out as a newer streamer and such. So yeah, no, each one. So for the dragon, I have 5 different template draconic patrons that I am working to support. One of which being the quote-unquote Cerulean Bolt, which is a lightning-based dragon patron. And so each patron is going to give an additional option for smite damage, and then a separate quote-unquote roar feature here that you can do as a minor action, or I think bonus action on your turn. And so for this dragon patron, you are going to get a minor action that lets you basically throw out a bolt of lightning that deals a little bit of shock damage here and there, and then can jump around like a chain lightning to hopefully stagger a number of enemies up to 4 total. And so it's just going to make kind of action on your turn easier, so you can daze them. And I believe, actually, let me go ahead and pull up the dazed condition here. Thank you. I'm really hoping so, because like I've been designing this game for a couple years now, mostly just because I want to slowly start moving away from 5e into something a little bit more like MCDM's Draw Steel game. And so I want to kind of have this much more tactical. Why is this all in yellow? I'll have to look into that later, but the dazed condition here is a very, it's a smaller condition. So whenever you'd make an attack roll with your proficiency die as a part of your die pool, it is instead going to just, you're going to make the attack roll without it. So it's just removing proficiency until the start of your next turn for that or until the end of that character's next turn. So it's just a slight setback there, but it comes with a little bit of damage, and so basically a functional disadvantage or something like that. So yes. So it takes 1d4 lightning damage for each point of conviction spended as a part of this action, to a maximum of 3d4. So there we go. That is going to be that there. So I think the easiest way to cut back on the amount of text here is to you attempt to stagger a creature of your choice that you can perceive within range. The effect then leaps from that target to as many as 3 other targets, each of which must be within 15 feet of the opponent, once per use. When a creature takes lightning damage from this attack, if the damage taken, so this is just going to become standard text here. When a creature takes lightning damage from this attack, the damage taken is lightning damage from the attack. If the damage taken is greater than or equal to your anointed level, the creature is dazed until the end of their next turn. There we go. So let's go ahead and cut this back here. And we can remove that text there. There we go. So that's going to make this a lot more easily readable. 3 volts. Use maximum of 3d4. So like it's still kind of heavy loaded, and there is some repetitiveness here, but it is going to have different tiered results. So 2d4 lightning damage, 1d4 per conviction. So it's a minimum of 2d4 up to a theoretical infinite max, but that's technically not possible just due to maintaining conviction within the class here. Yeah, so conviction, 1 conviction when you defend against an attack, and then each time you roll a 12 or a 1. So like you're going to continually be gaining this throughout combat, but you're not going to necessarily be able to hold it on longer because you're going to be spending conviction for spells as well as special attacks on a point-based system. So yes. All right. So that is going to be the Staggering Roar feature for the Cerulean Bolt Dragon. Here, is there supposed to be a space there? Yeah. Crap. That still feels like a lot. I know it technically doesn't matter a ton. But just formatting wise, remove space. Okay, yeah, it doesn't change anything. Okay. So yeah, that is going to be that one. So let's go ahead back to where I was initially drafting. And so yeah, that's probably going to be the most complicated roar feature here. That's fine. So let's old document design here. For Verdant Calypso, smite damage option is going to be poison, and then you can do the revitalizing roar feature on your turn. All right, so this is going to be straight temporary hit point gain, it appears. You roar with a revitalizing spirit. All allied creatures within 20 feet of you gain 1d4 temporary hit points, up to a maximum of 5d4. So, this is kind of similar to how I've redone Healing Word, which is good because that does kind of fit into the sort of cleric-ish nature of this archetype. Or not of this archetype, of this class, since it is a divine caster class. So, Revitalizing Roar, Oath of Sharpened Fang, special action, prerequisite is going to be Verdant Calypso. You rally your allies, emboldening their resistance to attacks in the face of great danger. Hell yeah. Alright. So, we are going to change some of the language here to kind of standardize along with the rest of our features here. All allied creatures. A number of creatures of your choice up to your spellcraft modifier. No, not well. It could be spellcraft. I'm gonna say up to your might modifier within a 20-foot radius of you. Modifier that you can perceive within 20 feet of you. So yeah, no radius there. So we can get rid of the radius here on self as well. Alright, conviction 2+, minor action, target self, implement none, range self. Target self doesn't really... target... Yeah, we'll leave that and just throw a question mark comment there, just so I can come back to that with... once I figure out exactly how I'm going to label all of these different targets. Number of creatures of your choice up to your might modifier that you can perceive within 20 feet of you. So yeah, range is going to be 20 feet. Gain 1d4 temporary hit points for each point of conviction expended as a part of this action to a maximum of 5d4. Yes. And once again, this is limited by our heroic resource, so we don't have to throw on here a conditional of you can use this once per short rest, etc. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Alright, so moving on to the Molten Tyrant here. Actually, no, I'll just leave it. Molten Tyrant. Frightening Roar. Okay. So this is going to be another one that has target numbers that need to be removed. You roar with terrifying presence. All hostile creatures within a 10-foot radius of you must make an intellect sanity resistance roll against your might team. On a failure, the target is frightened of you until the end of their next turn. Okay. I realized I forgot to put in a clause for staggering roar. Okay, we'll jump back to that once we do this. All hostile creatures within a 10-foot radius of you make a saving throw. So, creatures. Well, hang on. So, a creature who is resistant to the frightened condition, they roll their save at the start of their turn instead of at the end of their turn. So, that would mean that there is a way to get out of the frightened condition before its effects take action. So we could just have this be a number. Well, for one, it's going to be, instead of all hostile creatures, it's going to be a number of creatures of your choice up to your might modifier here, and then they are frightened of you. Because then we have the next clause here of, until the start of your next turn, you have advantage tier 1 on all attack rolls made against frightened creatures. So what this functionally works as is you giving yourself advantage on attacking a creature around you, and then all of the other ones are going to flee. So realistically, you're going to be making one attack against a creature here. So that's going to be advantage tier 1 on one attack. So it's a d4 to the attack roll. An average bonus of 2.5 just because they're frightened. You can get that advantage from all sorts of different sources, so it doesn't necessarily matter that it's coming because of the frightened. And so it's not going to necessarily weaken the attack if the frightened condition is either resisted or not, because the primary thing here is that it is crowd control. So you're swapping crowd control on. No, you're not swapping anything. You're gaining yourself one advantage on an attack roll, and then you are crowd controlling up to, let's just say, 3 other creatures away from you at the start of their turn if they don't resist. And so then the condition will end at the end of their next turn. Okay, so that isn't crazy. So, frightening roar. Roar, prerequisite, molten tyrant. You unleash a terrifying roar, striking fear into the hearts of your enemies. It's conviction 2, minor action. Target all creatures within the area here. Within the area. Range is going to be self, radius of 10 feet. Self 10-foot radius. Let's just go ahead and copy that text on over here. You are with terrifying presence. Let's go ahead and add in our line breaks. All hostile creatures. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to get rid of all hostile creatures. A number of creatures of your choice that you can, of your choice, up to. Number of creatures up to your. Up to your might modifier, yeah. That you can see, that you can perceive. within a 10-foot, within 10 feet of you, are frightened of you until the end of their next turn. And then until the start of your next turn, you have advantage on all attack rolls made against frightened creatures. So, yeah. You are basically consuming their fear into a damage bonus for yourself with this ability. Sweet. Okay, so yeah, that is going to be how Frightening Roar works for the Molten Tyrant aspect of the Oath of Sharpened Fang. So, that is going to be the whole of our first, second level anointed feature here. So, what we get next is we're going to go ahead and jump over to 5th level features here. I'm going to go ahead and just jump over to another one of our subclasses here so I can just copy formatting, just because the way that this subclass works is it's going to be just eating up all of my formatting. So, Oath of Sharpened Fang Anointed here. This first 5th level feature here is rather simple, mostly because of how complex the rest of it is, but it is also going to be on the stronger side when we do a little bit of buffing here, because it is, once again, the only thing you're getting at 5th level. So this is going to be called Draconic Resistance. Alright, you are resistant to the damage type associated with your Draconic Temper. So if you are, oh, you're all good. Happy to still have you here. Alright, so Draconic Resistance. So this is just going to be a flat damage resistance gain at 5th level here. Since this game only goes to 10th level, this is going to be at halfway. So you are resistant to the damage type associated with your Draconic Temper. So if we go back here to our classic temper list here, Heart of Fire gets resistance to fire, Storm of the Mountain Cold, Cerulean Bolt Lightning, Verdant Calypso Poison, and Molten Tyrant Acid. So that is going to be that. I believe I have a clause on another class here. You are resistant. Oh, no. Okay, so it's gonna be like that. Okay. Already. Yes. So this is from Resist the Grave, an 8th level domain speaker feature. So I'm going to copy this over here as a way to kind of ramp this subclass a little bit more with your Draconic Tempers. So if you are already resistant to the damage type associated with your Draconic Temper, to this damage type, you gain immunity to it. To your Draconic Temper. What did we call it? your draconic damage option, I guess. Okay, so that is going to be a that's going to be that gain. So you are resistant to the damage type associated with your draconic temper. You're already resistant to this damage type. You gain immunity to this damage to this damage. All right, so 5th level, halfway through, you gain potentially 1 damage immunity. All right, so easy. That is going to be our 5th level feature here. And so we get onto our capstone for this subclass, which is going to be another more complicated archetype option here. So this one is going to be called our Draconic Aspect. Alright, so this is going to be an 8th level Oath of Sharpened Fang anointed feature. You have become so infused with the supernatural energies of your patron that you radiate some of their draconic essence back into the world. You gain the draconic aspect associated with your draconic temper. And so... yes. And so there we go with that flavored, that kind of introductory text here. So what we have then is we're going to need to set up different aspects here for each temper. So first one up is aspect of the Heart of Fire. Aspect of the Storm of the Mountain. Aspect of the Cerulean Bolt. Aspect of the Verdant Calypso. And aspect of the Molten Tyrant. Actually, before we jump into each of these aspects, I did remember again that I was meaning to add in a clause for the staggering roar of the Cerulean Bolt here. If a creature takes... no, if the target creature initial, because it can be, takes the defend reaction against this damage, the effect does not leap to additional creatures. So that gives the initial creature an option to basically spend one of their heroic resources, spend one of their actions, spend their reaction to reduce the damage, but then it is also going to potentially not daze the rest of their party if they're in close proximity to them. So that's just going to give some action and ability back to the enemies on the other side of the field. Okay. Thank you. I love doing game design work, and so like this is just like being able to design my own game here is just a lot of fun because I get to I think eventually I'm going to sell this as its own core rulebook. I'm specifically doing everything I can to stay away from the DM's Guild, just because one, when you sell something on the DM's Guild, Wizards of the Coast takes 50% of profits from there, and then they also own the copyright to the works. So it would basically be giving up a lot of freedom there. Like, it's DM's Guild is really good for one thing and one thing only. If you are specifically designing for 5th edition, it lets you use all of the worlds that Wizards of the Coast owns. So you can actually write an official Eberron source book. You can write a Dark Sun rule book. If Dark Sun was in 5e, which it might be one day, but like, you can write something officially within the Forgotten Realms or Spelljammer or all of these other classic D&D worlds. You can also use like named monsters like Mind Flayers or Beholders or Aberration or things like that. But you are giving up a decent amount of your revenue stream and your ability to like fully own your copyrighted works because you are using Wizards of the Coast's own IP. And so I try and stay away from working on the DM's Guild and just work to invent my own things. So like, I have my own Mind Flayers. They are the Ulithic, which sounds very similar to Illithid, but like, I own them because it's not using a copyrighted Wizards of the Coast term. Yeah. I'm not super familiar with Start Playing, but like I know I'm definitely going to put this up when it's done on like Drive-Thru RPG. I'm gonna have an option to buy it on my own website and such. But like, as far as like quick start guides and such, I'm gonna make that available basically free of charge, easy to go there. And yeah. And like, once again, that's why I'm doing a lot of these streams and such, is to kind of talk through and share all of the design features and such. So that way, when there is an actual game and I can publish it and I own the copyright on it, I can choose to kind of disseminate it how I want. One of those options is definitely going to be having an online source, so something like Pathfinder's Archive of Nethys and such. Gotcha. Okay, yeah. I haven't used Start Playing games, so I don't know if that's necessarily going to be like a marketplace for a core rule book, or if it's it seems like it's a bit more of an automation tool for like a virtual tabletop, which is something that I'm very interested in, since I do have a little bit of coding background and such. So I might want to try and like create a module for that to automatically implement the rules, but it's going to kind of be a wait and see sort of thing. But like, one of the things that MCDM did with their Draw Steel rulebook is that they opened up all of the text within it, so it's not technically Creative Commons, but it's similar to, in that you can use the text wherever you want, so long as you throw their attribution license in with your product. Yeah, 15% is so much more reasonable than what the DM's Guild does. Use of your core rules if DM wanted to run a story with it. So not much selling a book, backer. Yeah, backer kit and Kickstarter is something that I want to do with this when I eventually get. Like I'm not going to go to backer kit or Kickstarter without the core rules being done, without the text being done, mostly because I'd want to kickstart the art for the book, because I am not a huge. I'm not really a big visual artist. I am at my best when I'm doing like text work and such. And so I want to be able to hire and support artists to, draw up a cool, draconic knight or paladin or something of the sort. And yeah, sell the book that way. Then, have PDFs offered and such. But I'm not expecting to be able to go to like a Kickstarter or a backer kit for probably honestly another year, maybe even two, just because this has ended up being a very large um this has ended up being a very large project, and I want to like fight again. Mid AI use. Yeah, no, I do not want to use AI or any of that. I've been like there is a temptation, because there's like some text in here that feels really kind of boring to write, but doing the actual writing yourself is the important part of making a game, so that you actually know the text, you learn the text, and then you can kind of edit and revise it. It's all putting something on the page first. And like when I go to artists, I'm going to eventually like create a full-on contract of like, hey, you don't use AI, period. Otherwise, like what are we doing? Like it's a creative industry. Generative tools and such really are antithetical to it. It's just capitalistic, profit-driven nonsense, and so that is something that I want to resist at any and all cost. And yeah, that's that spiel, I suppose. Yeah. Oh yeah. Finding an artist is going to be a lot of. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I've been since I started developing this back in like 2023. I've been finding a bunch of artists online and checking like commissions and such, and like I have a library of people I'd like to work on this, like if I can eventually like commission them to do it. But yeah, Fiverr does do a lot of AI stuff I've seen. Conventions, I mean, networking with people at conventions would be awesome. Like when I eventually get this game to a state that is publishable, I was visiting with some of my family members a while back, and they live in Indianapolis near where Gen Con is. And so they said that they'd be willing to let me and my girlfriend stay there if we wanted to go to Gen Con one year. And so that is kind of like my pipe dream. Like I want to try and like eventually like either sell or like be on the floor at Gen Con to share my game with people, or to like do stuff that way. But that is, once again, pipe dream once it's actually like published. But yes, do it. I don't want to. It's gonna be so exciting. Oh, that sounds. You've. Oh man, that is awesome. I am jealous. I cannot wait to go one year and just like share my game and like see what everyone else is doing, and like going to an actual like tabletop gaming convention to like share something that you've seen, and then like get to talk to all sorts of like that is such like that is the dream for me. Oh man, nice. Yeah. During your cosplays, what kind of characters do you like to cosplay as? That sounds like I kind of dabbled a little bit with maker and cosplay stuff, but like I'm awesome. Okay. Yes, I get popular and they will invite me. Yes, that is the goal. You can also just pay for it. I've been in like a lot of the MCDM circles and such, and so like they will. The reason like they weren't at Gen Con last year was just because it costs a lot to set up a panel, and so I'm worried a little bit about that. But I think I need to just calm down, like not nerd out, and like we're gonna cross that bridge when we come to it. But like as far as a big plan, like that is the end goal. I'd love to go to Gen Con, like network with all sorts of people across the TTRPG scene, like, and just share the book that I worked on, and yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. That means a lot to me. It's a lot of hype based stuff, but like it really like I genuinely game design is one of my big passions and such. Haven Con, not a thing. Ah, dang. Um, like the last time I went to a convention, it was back home in Ohio. I went there just because one of my friends. Dang, that is awesome. I bet he's a great DM. 30% of the quest for WoW. That is sweet. Um, yeah, no, I would love to play a game with them. That sounds awesome. Um, like eventually, like maybe one of these days when I get to, yeah. What was the new game he was talking about? Like maybe I've heard of it. I've got a ton of RPGs on my shelf, kind of out in the kitchen there. But oh, oh dang, that's man. Um, that is really cool. Um, yeah, 10 realms. Ooh, okay. COVID, yeah, that COVID really put a damper on so much. I think one of the best things to come out of COVID was like virtual tabletops actually got really good. So like we could meet up with people online, but like in-person play is the best. Um, like I like for my for the finale of the last 5e campaign that I ran, I met up with everyone in person, and like I had built some large terrain features. I think you can see the big tower way over there behind me. Ooh, at a bar. I played last night at a bar. It's yeah, that sounds fun. Like I'm currently in St. Louis, Missouri. We have this bar down the street called the Dirty 20, and so every Wednesday night they have like a house D&D game that they run and play with, and I haven't gotten to be a part of that yet, but like I would love to get involved with that. So we also have a miniature market also down the street a little bit. Um, Um. Oh man. I do not have a channel Discord set up yet. I will have to look into that. Um. Oh, that sounds. Man, that sounds like just meeting up with a bunch of people and playing games is. It's so much fun. It's so good. Like my friend Jacob is running a Strixhaven game on Sundays, and I'm playing that. And it's like Sundays are the highlight of my week, just because I get to kind of be here, hang out with my friends, just play games all day. Like like it's just the best. And then like every other Sunday before that, I meet up with a bunch of friends over from college, and like we have board game days before that. So actually next weekend, so yeah, this upcoming weekend I believe it is, the PTA name themselves that. Yeah. Oh man. Uh, I'm still trying to shoot for like one. I'm trying to figure out what our party's name is going to be, just because uh like it's myself, my girlfriend, and one of our other friends who are a part of that game, and we our characters are kind of disparate. They're not really like we're still trying to figure out what the party identity is, and it's been like 20 sessions. um and so yeah, like eventually we'll have a team name or something like that, but Vandalin treasure acquisitionists. Yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, that sounds that sounds awesome. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay. Aspect of okay, so I'm let's see here. Aspect of the heart of fire. Oh no. Alright. Yeah. Nice. Well, I hope you have a great stream and game prep. It's been so great chatting with you today. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and jump back over towards the game design here. But man, thank you so much for coming into chat today. Like, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. You make amazing things too. Ah. All right. So, rolling back into our capstone here, draconic aspect. This is going to be kind of your ultimate form here. Oh, thank you so much for the follow. All right. Aspect of the Heart of Fire. You gain the following features. Infravision. So this is coming from classic D&D here. So this is going to be your standard just infravision text here. All right. So infravision. You have the ability to detect infrared signatures within 30 feet of you. These signatures are expressed as maps of warmth and coldness, with color palettes showing differences in temperature. Heat signatures are obscured by more than 3 feet of stone, an inch of iron or steel, or any thickness of lead that blocks your line of sight to a target. If you already have infravision, your range increases by 30 feet. Boom, boom. Bold and italics, and then italics here. All right. So, and then the final feature here for Heart of Fire's aspect is they all burn. Let me see if I can shrink this down, since this is going to be a cross-page thing. Okay, there we go. Copy and paste. All right, when you deal fire damage to a target, this is the fire class, so you can do this with your smites, because you can replace your smite damage with fire. When you deal fire damage to a target that has resistance or immunity to fire damage, they do not benefit from that resistance or immunity until the start of your next turn. So, not only are you cutting through their fire resistance with your attack to do base damage instead of resisted or immune damage, it is cutting away that resistance or immunity until the start of your next turn. So if you have other party members who are wanting to throw a fireball at the Demon Lord, that fire is now going to hit and burn them more, because you got rid of their resistance. Yep, and then we're going to have spaces after there. All right, aspect of the Storm of the Mountain. All right, so this is going to be another one that gets infravision. Interesting. Honestly, that's kind of makes a bit of sense, because this is the cold focused dragon archetype here. And then we have endurance of ice and stone. Let's see what that says. All right. Okay. Add spacing. Yep. Okay, we're already got there. Information here gets italicized. Endurance of ice and stone. Once per long rest, when you would expend a point of willpower to recharge a spent action, reroll an ability challenge, or avoid death, you expend 1 point of willpower less than the ability requires. Okay, that is good. It basically gives you a free willpower point, which serves as bonus levels before my version of the exhausted condition from 5e. So once per long rest. I think the way to fix to like kind of tweak this to modern design is to just change this from a long rest, a bonus willpower once per long rest, to a bonus willpower once per short rest. So that's going to keep you alive longer if you're pogoing at 0 hit points. That's going to keep you. That's going to either give you a free reaction. It's not free reaction. A free reroll on an attack roll. Free recharge of a spent action. Yeah, I think that just changing that to a short action, to a short rest, is going to wildly make this much more usable, much more meaningful as well. Because like they all burn is cutting past resistance that is going to be greatly increasing damage output from you and from your party members, whereas this should be like the idea of this is to hold tight and to resist and to last longer. So this is going to give you theoretically an entire extra round of combat if you are at 0 hit points. Okay. Aspect of the Cerulean Bolt. Okay, so you get a couple of things. Okay. Interesting. So one of these might be changed just due to how we buffed the draconic resistance. Okay, so following features. You gain amphibious. You can breathe when surrounded by or submersed in air or water. All right, good. That is a nice little line text there, just to give you some bonus to survivability, but it's more. This is more going to be an out of combat sort of thing, so you just need to get to ignore like air bubbles and such. Okay, lightning immunity. You are immune to lightning damage, which could interplay with your draconic resistance if you are already resistant to lightning damage. So draconic resistance would give you immunity to lightning damage at 5th level if you're already resistant. I don't think there is an origin that gives you lightning resistance, but possibility. So you are immune to lightning damage, just full stop. This immunity cannot be removed or reduced by humanoids or dragons. On one hand, is this worthwhile? Just because now we're getting into stacking. So you can be resistant. Your resistance can be upgraded to immunity. But now we have the ability to remove immunity through something like Heart of Fire. But then we can also have another tier above that where your immunity can be removed or reduced, cannot be removed or reduced. So like this is a little bit of countering mechanics that we implemented beforehand. However, since this immunity cannot be removed or reduced by humanoids or dragons, and we're putting a conditional limit on it that way, I think... I mean, that's such a niche edge case that I think it should be fine. Like, let's say it's a fey creature. A fey creature could... I mean, they wouldn't necessarily be working with lightning damage primarily. I mean, I guess some of them could, but they would still be able to do that to remove lightning damage, lightning immunity there. But if you are fighting an electric type dragon, a blue dragon, as far as D&D be concerned, immunity cannot be removed by them. I think that is fine. Like you're going to be able to resist a dragon's lightning breath. One second. Okay. So that's just giving you additional resistance against humanoids or dragons. So then we also have an ability for Tremor Sense. When you detect creatures... you have the ability to detect and pinpoint the origin of vibrations within 45 feet of you, provided that the source of the vibrations are in contact with the same ground or substance. Tremor Sense cannot detect incorporeal creatures. When you detect creatures in this manner, you learn the size and locations of creatures within your Tremor Sense radius. Creatures that can share their space with others or have the Pack Tactics ability, Pack Tactics is going to get italicized there, may make discerning that number, the specific number of targets, difficult. If you already have Tremor Sense, your range increases by 45 feet. Okay, so this is something that actually would pair really well with like a dwarf or a half dwarf, because you're going to get a bit of Tremor Sense already. And so like this just turns you kind of like Tremor Sense is already, the design of it is to emulate like Toth from The Last Airbender. And so like this is going to just functionally like double your Tremor Sense radius. So that means no one can sneak up to you from, I believe it would be up to 90 feet away. And so like an invisible creature, you still know exactly where they are. And that, like, Tremor Sense being more available in this game, same with something like Infravision, is one of the reasons why whenever I have like a feature that says that you can see something, I've been changing it to perceive, so that text inherently also covers other senses, such as Tremor Sense, such as Infravision, such as True Sight. So yeah, Tremor Sense, Amphibious, Lightning Immunity. So I think that is a good... It feels a little bit more circumstantial. But I mean, this is damage immunity. This is additional senses. I don't know. We might need to see that one again later. All right. Aspect of the Verdant Calypso. You gain the following features. Speaking of other senses, okay. I think we might need to cut this one back a little bit, just because that is on the stronger side, but let's go ahead and read through it and add on our line breaks and formatting. Alright, so one with the roots. When you would be slowed or rooted, you gain 1d4 temporary hit points for each of your anointed levels. Okay. I don't hate that. That feels almost very druidic in its nature. Like, you are more in contact with the ground because you are slowed, you are rooted, you are restrained in that way. And so you just kind of become more... You have more vitality. Once you use this ability, you cannot use it again until you complete a short rest. When you have no uses remaining, you can spend 1 point of willpower to use it again. Yeah, I think that's fair. True Sight. Your sight pierces magical veils. You have the ability to see in normal and magical darkness within 15 feet of yourself, and can see invisible creatures or objects. Visual illusions are clarified to you, and you can perceive the original form of a shape changer or a creature transformed or affected by magical transmutation. You automatically succeed on resistance rolls against illusion spells. Okay. So resistance rolls against illusion spells is not a thing anymore, just because that was our saving throw style mechanic. So you can see invisible creatures and objects. Visual illusions are clarified to you, are identified and clarified to you. That's going to be our way to say, hey, you can recognize illusions. So there we go. Okay, so I want to give one with the roots a little bit of a buff here. When you would be slowed or rooted, you gain 1d4 temporary hit points for each of your anointed levels, which is good. So slowed reduces you by half of your movement speed, and rooted, I believe, reduces your movement speed to 5 or 10 feet. One of those two. Okay. It's for each of your anointed levels. Let's go ahead and do another one of the temporary hit point clauses. So while you have these temporary hit points, you probably can't be... Your speed can't be reduced more than maybe 5 or 10 feet. Okay, so let's see here. Where is one of our temporary hit point clauses? Well, we know we have it with Oath of Fealty, so let's go ahead and jump over there. While a creature has these temporary hit points, okay. While you have these temporary hit points, your movement speed cannot be reduced beneath your hindered movement speed. So whether you are slowed or rooted, you basically get the movement speed that you would have if you are slowed, so that you can't have your speed reduced beneath half. And you can gain temporary once per short rest. Yeah, because a Batarian style dragon, one that has a lot more of this verdant power, this connection to nature and the environment, it's going to be all about environmental manipulation. And environmental manipulation inherently coincides with two things, that being cover and that being difficult terrain. And so difficult terrain is going to slow or root you, usually. Okay, so your movement speed cannot be reduced beneath your hindered movement speed. You ignore rain, and there, and your movement speed cannot be reduced beneath your hindered movement speed. So basically, you won't have to deal with difficult terrain with this feature while you have these temporary hit points. And then if you are given the condition of slowed or rooted, you can't be reduced past that, past half your movement speed. And so that's just going to be a way of implementing like stability or forced movement reduction without it's forced movement mitigation, really. Okay, aspect of the molten tyrant. Okay, this interesting. Okay, okay. Let's see what this all has to offer. Because this is the largest, which makes me inherently worried about power creep. Alright, so you gain the following features. Alright, so Fury of the Will. Whenever you expend a point of willpower, you deal 1d10 acid damage to up to one creature of your choice within 5 feet of you. Okay, that is basically a cantrip. I don't hate that. Glowing Blood. Your blood runs like magma. When below your maximum hit while you are bloodied. You are bloodied. So when you're reduced to half your hit points or less, you produce dim light in a 15-foot radius. So that you basically get a light cantrip. So you basically have two cantrips. One's a damaging, and one is light, which is cool, but that is also very circumstantial. Infravision. So this is once again senses here. Infravision, range of 15 feet. So this is basically just for detecting invisible creatures close to you. And then Tremor Sense also at 15 feet. This sucks. This sucks. Okay, so I'm gonna keep Infravision at 15 feet here, and I'm gonna get rid of Tremor Sense at 15 feet. So Infravision at 15 feet means you're gonna be able to detect nearby invisible creatures. I'm just gonna bump it to 20. Okay, so we need just one more feature, I think, for this, because these are very small features. Okay, so what is the Molten Tyrant about? It's all about dealing acid damage. It's reforming when broken. So, like, let's say you have a carapace that breaks. Um, Whenever you expend a point of willpower, maybe expend an armor point or point of willpower. Molten Reconstitution. Whenever you spend an armor point, so whenever you take the defend action, this is going to kind of bolster you. So you are kind of pulling yourself back together. Okay. I think that is a start of something. So we have Fury of the Will, which is that is a lame name. We're gonna start reworking this. Molten Carapace. Whenever you expend an armor point or a point of willpower. Yeah, let's just get rid of Fury of the Will, because what the hell is that? When you expend an armor point, or a point of willpower, you deal 1d10 acid damage to up to one creature of your choice within 5 feet of you. Good start. So, what can we do beyond that? We could give temporary hit points. Sure. We could maybe heal actual hit points. Since we've done a lot with temporary hit points, we don't do a lot with actual hit points. When you expend an armor point or a point of willpower, to one creature of your choice. Okay, so we have a damage here. What if Okay, here is an idea. Whenever you spend an armor point or a point of willpower, you can roll a number of hit dice up to your anointed level. You take hang on. So this is going to be a splash effect here. You and all creatures within a 15-foot radius of you roll a number of hit dice up to your anointed level and take the amount rolled as acid damage. Okay, so we are damaging ourselves by rolling our hit dice. What? That's weird. All creatures within 15 feet, within a 15-foot radius of you. Take all, no, not all creatures. All creatures of your choice that you can perceive within a 15-foot radius if you take acid damage equal to the amount. Okay. Okay. So right now you are taking acid damage, and then all of your and then enemies around you are taking acid damage. And you're doing this by spending a hit point resource. And so that is going to be a secondary cap here. So whenever you expend armor points or willpower points, you can do this. So theoretically, you can do this as many times as you have armor points and or willpower. But you're also going to be limited by your amount of hit dice. So theoretically, you could swallow this entire field first round, spend a point of willpower with acid, and like that would get rid of a lot of like minion style creatures. But then you would be out of hit dice, so you could still just, you know, defend, react, use willpower as normal. You just wouldn't necessarily be able to do this. Or you can do like splash a little bit here, continue fighting, splash a little bit later on when you defend again. So you can split, move, and fire in that sort of way. All creatures of your choice that you can perceive within a 15-foot radius of you take acid damage equal to the amount. Up to. Okay. So right now we are using our hit dice to damage ourselves and our and our enemies. What I want to do here is, okay, so now you've taken the amount rolled as acid damage. You're resistant to acid damage, so you're going to be having that damage, but you're also going to get the amount rolled as like maybe temporary hit points. So you're dropping your current hit points to gain a larger buffer of temporary hit points. Um, you take acid damage. Gain roll and take damage equal to the amount. Take acid damage equal to the amount. Okay, and that is repetitive. But I do want the acid damage to necessarily trigger first. You take acid damage equal to the amount rolled, and then gain temporary hit points equal to the, and then gain equal to the amount. I don't like equal to that same amount. So the gameplay here is you are damaging yourself with acid damage. You are melting a little bit. So let's say you roll 3d10. Is this class's hit die a d10? I don't know off the top of my head. Let's just say it is. You roll 3d10 and you take 15 points of acid damage. So you're hurting yourself that way, but you're resistant to acid damage, so you're really only taking 7 points of acid damage. And then you immediately, because you would have taken 15 points of acid damage, you gain 15 temporary hit points. So really, you're going down 7, and then you're gaining 8 temporary hit points on top of where you once were. Equal to that. You take acid damage equal to the amount rolled, and then gain temporary hit points equal to the same amount. All creatures of your choice that you can perceive within a 15-foot radius. No, a number of creatures of your choice that you can, your choice, up to your might modifier that you can perceive within a 15-foot radius of you take acid damage equal to the amount. So basically, you are, once again, going back to our hypothetical, you take 15 points of acid damage, you reduce that to 7, you gain 15 temporary hit points. All of the other creatures around you, up to your might modifier, can take 15 points of acid damage. I think I should throw this as, I think I need to throw a for example text here. Okay, so for example, let me go ahead and look at what our hit die actually is. Is it a D10? It feels like a D10. This is a D10 class, yes. For example, you raise your shield to block an incoming attack. Trigger your molten carapace. As a part of this reaction, you expend 3 of your hit dice. 3 of your hit dice. Rolling them and take 15 points of acid damage. Since you are resistant to acid damage because of your draconic resistance, you instead only take 7 damage. Rolling them and take 15 points of acid damage. You then gain 15 temporary hit points and deal 15 acid damage to hostile creatures in your area or vicinity. Okay, so yeah, that's how that will work. It's I damage myself to splash out damage to you, and then I just immediately gain that back. Okay, so that is vastly better than what it used to be. So instead of dealing 1d10 acid damage to one creature, you're dealing acid damage to an area of effect. Instead of just being a quick, I gain temporary hit points, you are now taking damage and then gaining additional temporary hit points to bring you back above where you once were. So it is a bit of both. And once again, it is limited by action points. It is, which is then also limited by willpower. So it's both of those things. So technically, you could even do this when you expend a point of willpower to recharge an action. And then it is also limited by your hit dice. So you can't do this incredibly frequently, even though there is no inherent cooldown on it. And so since hit dice recover at the same rate as 5e, where you get half your hit dice back upon the completion of a long rest, like if you burn through all of your hit dice here, you can't do another full burn for 2 long rests afterwards. And so that is a bit of a damage recovery time afterwards. And so that feels narratively good. You need time to reform your molten armor. Yeah. So actually, let's just go that there. Okay, so I think that is a good place to leave aspect of the molten tyrant. And so I think, and so that is going to be the capstone for this subclass here. This incredibly complicated subclass. Yeah. So the next part of the stream should be going into berserker archetypes and different spirits and some changes there. But honestly, given just how much this subclass was, and kind of looking over at the time right now, I think I'm going to call the stream here so that I can go to the store and cook wings for me and my girlfriend tonight. And so I don't think I'm going to be able to be on here again tomorrow, but it'll probably be another couple of days. Maybe I might be able to get a stream in on Friday where we actually finally tackle berserker spirits and reworking some of that class's features, so that we can have different rage effects and like. But I do think that this is going to be a good place to call it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I've loved this stream and just being able to chat with you, especially you, Chaz Gomez, in the chat. Thank you guys for making today an awesome day, and I hope to see you guys in the future. Take care.